Hey there everyone, I hope to see you guys at Everfree Northwest happening from May 18th to the 20th. If you're wondering how you can attend this con yourself, check the link in the description below for more details. So this is Surf and or Turf. So, now that the movie, and I've already said this 1,000 times, so take a shot each time I've said it, now that the movie is essentially now canon to the show, it would only be a matter of time until they brought one of the equestrian nations that was presented in the movie into the show. I mean, we already have, like, the aptly mentioned characters, like, they mentioned Storm King, and they mention, the hippogryphs and everything. Which I can't stop thinking about hippogryphs each time. Like, I keep thinking of Silvercrow each time I keep hearing them say hippogryphs. But anyways, the Cutie Mark Crusaders are, called up to the nation to solve a problem for a hippogriff. First they can't figure it out, but they spotlight, or at least one of the characters who turns from sea pony into a hippogriff, essentially is the one that needs help. And they have many, like, highs and lows between both their livings. On one hand, he thinks that he has to stay with his father, the other one has to stay, and he thinks he also has to stay with his mother, but feels like he's gonna betray one or the other. And what happens afterwards is that it's a matter of picking which land he would like to be in. Would he like to live in land, or live in the sea, like he always enjoyed? However, in one situation that he partakes in, there's times where Sweetie Belle likes the land, but Scoodle likes the sea. But it's a tough decision between one another, which just essentially frustrates our troubled character more, and just barges off and just stands by his own self. Now, actually, when I take a look at the, like, both places that they see, like, I sort of kind of see this, like, some of the advantages there could be. I mean, sure, the sea one may have its own disadvantage, especially since he has to be a sea pony all the time, but land? Like, he has enough running space and flying space for him to do whatever, but also, there's a little section of sea that he could have. Like, he can just be there. He could just fly one moment and just dive into the little lake sea thing that's on land. How could he not, like, why say that there's no advantage of that? Why? There's clearly potential for that said land. I mean, it looks pretty and everything, but yeah, if your parents live in separate places, I can see that being a big issue. But still, like, imagine being close to one another, not being able to fly from the top of the hill all the way down there. You could just, like, the hippogriffs could, like, his father could just be like, oh, wait, there's that land, there's the mother, and then, like, they're both close to one another and don't have a long distance traveling between one another. And it's kind of odd where I'm trying to go at with this, but I'd imagine it could be some sort of metaphor for, like, parents who are divorcing between one another, and they're trying to make the decision, and the kids are trying to make the decision, who do I pick to stay with? Do I stay with the mother or do I stay with the father? That's what I think the episode's metaphor is. Maybe a long shot, but think about it. Like, it's a metaphor for, like children who are struggling choosing between one another, their mother or their father. Which at times can get them frustrated, and sometimes they just have a hard time deciding, making a decision. Which, I can see that being a potential metaphor in this episode. I mean, I never really thought of that until now. And I want to see the analysis community, despite the recent situation that's been going on with it, just seeing how they think about this, whether or not they see the metaphor of a kid choosing in a divorce situation, if that even makes sense. But in the end, it turns out that, of course, he can be both ways. He doesn't have to choose one or the other, and doesn't betray the parents. In the end, both sides win. And thus, there's no issues, no worries to deal with. It's just like over-exaggeration, and in the end, he can be both everything and no longer that situation. Really, it's been sort of kind of a slow start for the single slice of life episodes, but that could be because we're just getting back into the ponies, man. We're getting back into it. But I'm glad we're back. But with this one actually diving into a slice of life episode that actually that has parts relating to the movie, I'd honestly would say this pushes the limit. This is truly, at least, a good slice of life outside the MLP movie canon lore episode. And again, for people who forget, it's initial opinion. It may change after a while, but still, it depends on just the situation alone and how I would feel about this. But I sort of kind of see this as a metaphor for being of children who have to struggle between choosing their parents. And sometimes, like I've never been in that situation before, but I've seen this happen I've seen this happen to a couple of people. And yeah, it can be a hard situation choosing between one another, but honestly, if I see that in this episode, hopefully I'm not alone on this. So with that in mind, what did you think about Surf and or Turf? What a tongue twister, man. But just hope to see you, but I'll see you guys next week for the all-new episode or the movie review, because next week we've got the Avengers coming out, and I look forward to that. But I also look forward to a bunch of other movies that are coming out. But with that in mind, I'll see you guys next week, and just take care.